This year, the bills they're watching would stop schools from hanging pride flags, allow a person to deny officiating someone's wedding if they object on religious reasons, and remove language in state code saying teachers can't discriminate based on sexual
orientation. Half was open to the public. The other half was for VIP guests and media. It's part of a new ticketing policy from the House Speaker. It gives each lawmaker one VIP guest for the day's session. This, of course, did not please everyone.
Is there any process?
Any other flag, including the flags of other states and countries, as well as pride flags, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, or anything else. Well, today supporters of the pride flag came to protest this bill, saying it tries to erase them.
Tennessee lawmakers are exploring a move to block the public from accessing records from the Department of Tourist Development. Now, the move comes as Nashville begins construction on its new football stadium, amid conversations that it'll push to bring in the Super Bowl.
Starting next year, social media companies like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok will have to get parental permission for minors to access their services. This from a bill passed by the Tennessee General Assembly, the Protecting Minors from Social Media Act, according to Senate Majority
Leader. What information might have been accessed so far, but a new state law could prevent you from filing a class action lawsuit if hackers get your information in any sort of cyber attack. State Capitol reporter Tori Gessner.
Thanks to a bill passed last session, if a business under cyber attack can prove they weren't grossly negligent, they may be protected from any class action lawsuits that could follow.
We can't stop that attack, but what we can do is try to put things in place so that they're not being.
We'll protect the Ku Klux Klan from wearing a mask in public, but someone who's immunocompromised, like myself, can't. There are people that
made their way through downtown. This video shows what appears to be roughly 24 demonstrators carrying flags with swastikas on them. This video taken downtown near Broadway. The people appear to be in red and black.
And by refusing to call out a Tennessee that is very scary for a lot of communities across our state, including our Jewish communities and our Muslim communities. This is a group that is notorious.
Pearson shared this video on social media showing the Nazis outside the state capitol. He stated, quote, "This is the hate that the Tennessee House GOP fosters from their positions of power in the General Assembly. I'm disgusted that Nazis are..."
We can walk around and dance and say it does all these different things. We've opted out in the amendment that was just drafted, the Confederate flag. So the Confederate flag can be flown, but the LGBTQ flag cannot be displayed.
We lifted the voices of our community because we said we have to listen to the 7,000 people who marched here. Representative Jones and I were expelled. Representative Johnson recently expelled from the Tennessee House of Representatives. They did commit criminal offenses. They did commit bribery. They did commit sexual misconduct. They did racist reaction of bills targeting Representative Jones, myself,
Representative Pearson, you're out of order. You're out of order. You stay on the topic of the bill. That is not on the bill. Please stay on the topic of the bill, and it's your amendment. So we're on the amendment.
Last week we passed a resolution saying that we are a state that loves our neighbors. If you love your neighbor, you don't build razor wire to keep them out. If you love your neighbor, you don't put them in camps and separate them from their children.
Would overturn changes made by Memphis police following Nichols' beating death last year. The legislation would prohibit local cities and towns from limiting traffic stops for minor infractions. And we had a chance to speak to Tyree Nichols'
decide whether to end what some call the slavery loophole. 5 states have amendments on the ballot this November that would cut out language that permits slavery and involuntary servitude as criminal punishments. Newsy National
It was ruled unconstitutional. However, one Tennessee district attorney says if the so-called drag law is violated at Pride events this weekend, he'll prosecute anyway. But event organizers aren't canceling their drag shows.
Nazis have repeatedly shown up in crowds in Nashville, live streaming themselves as they wave swastika flags, sing hateful songs, and disrupt a city council meeting. One clip even capturing the neo-Nazis.
Problem investigation. We've analyzed never-before-seen TBI data.
Chief investigative reporter Jeremy Finley found more than 600 Tennesseans have been arrested for DUI and were completely sober.
As far away as California, Texas, Florida, and yes, some from Tennessee, They're to hear lectures that they believe will justify their white supremacy. But instead of white robes and hoods, these attendees come in coat and tie.
No fascist USA!
By a small group of anti-fascists upset over the return of the white supremacist American Renaissance Conference, an annual event that's been held here at the Parks Lodge and Conference Center since 2012.
Comprehensive investigation of the city of Memphis and the Memphis Police Department. The Justice Department has found a pattern or practice of conduct that violates people's civil and
Who's making the false arrests? You may recall, we obtained TBI data that shows 609 people in Tennessee have been arrested for DUI in a 7-year period, whose blood work came back showing they were completely sober.
The Department of Justice released its findings in a civil rights investigation into the Memphis Police Department, and it concluded that the police in Memphis routinely discriminate against Black residents. In a 73-page report,